Hello, I'm Luca De Giglio, and this is the Web3 in Travel podcast, where you can learn about crypto, blockchain, and how the new internet will change travel. Okay, welcome everyone to the episode number 101 of the Web3 in Travel podcast. I'm with Nick Pisters from Holland right now, from the company startup Aqi Travel, a startup which was part of the TechTree's submission, so the first batch, a semi-finalist who came to Umbria at the Web3 in Travel conference. So we have met in real life. And Nick, I would just say, why don't you present yourself and maybe your team, and then we take it from there.
Yeah.
And welcome, of course.
So we are a very young team. We're all just 21 years old. And I myself come from a background in the travel industry. Since I was a very little kid, I've been passionate about travel and tourism, and then in particular aviation, which is also what led me to study aviation management. And that's actually where I met my co-founder, Leo. He was my roommate and he was a computer science student. And not per se that he wanted to go into the travel industry, but he was extremely passionate about travel or as a consumer. And we started talking, and we came with some ideas. And then there was this other guy that I knew from high school, and back in high school we used to do travel affiliate websites. Not that was very successful, but it was at that time a fun way to kill some time. And so we also gave him a call. And that's actually how we formed the team and really started to throw some ideas together and get through those ideas. And then, at some point, that all grew together and became Aqi Travel.
It sounds like the classic Silicon Valley startup thing. You share the dorm, you get ideas, and you start playing around. So nice, yeah.
Yeah, the story is almost a cliche, I must say, but yeah.
Yeah. It's good, of course, yeah. So what is Aqi Travel trying to solve?
So main thing we're trying to solve is actually that the digital experience for travelers is, in the first place, very fragmented. On the other side, also not ready for what we think is a new generation travelers coming into the market. We are part of this new generation, and what we see is that there is some sort of generation gap in between older generations, newer generations. You see that newer generations are very often looking for experience first travel, so they really want authentic experiences. But at the same time, they also want this to be facilitated.
All right. Let me interrupt you, because this is very interesting. And so I heard this often, right? That the new generation looks for experiences rather than basically sightseeing, right? What do you exactly mean by that? And I'll tell you why I'm interested in that. So I'm on your side in a way. I'm not trying to find a fault in what you're saying. I 100% understand why one wants to get experiences, but I want to actually know, what do you exactly mean by that?
It's have these things that not everyone goes to. A lot of it comes forward, and that's kind of sad, about the need to show on social media. And if you, for example, and I must say I've not seen the most recent publication, but last year's American Express trend reports, which specifically looked at Gen Z and millennials, you see that the majority of travelers is looking for, let's say, that unique restaurant with unique menu items or hidden gem spots for the reason to show off to others. And they take a lot of pride in finding these new places. I mean, I'm not a big social media person, so for me, that's also something that's like, okay, but it's there.
Okay. Let me. Sorry, this podcast is gonna be like this. I'm gonna interrupt you a lot because I'm actually interested, and apologies for that in advance. There is this tension between the experience and the the research for something which works nicely on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, right? Which is the probably the contrary of experience. Like you go to a place to experience something, and then what you actually do is you there just because it looks nice on a picture or on a video. It's the opposite, right? It's the complete only surface, no substance approach. But I so does it okay, this is one reading of the situation, but when you say experiences, you probably mean something else, right? So yeah, let's go ahead with that.
Yeah, I think what we're really trying is to find a way, because I think a lot of younger consumers just simply don't know better anymore.
Hmm.
And with those experience, I think what we try to do is give them experience they can actually enjoy. Um, and at the same time, and that's kind of the main thing of what we're doing, is we're adding a reward system in there,
Yeah,
which
sorry, we're not talking about. I'm trying to get to Aqi Travel later now because I want to understand actually again the meaning of experience, like for the
Mhm.
new generations, right? Um, yeah, so let's go back to that because again, I'm very interested. What does it mean to travel and get experience rather than just travel and sightseeing or taking pictures? Well, what is the how is an experience successful? How is a travel looking for experience successful? How do you define that? No, maybe not you personally, right? But this generation you're talking about, right?
I just need to get to that thing because I find it quite a difficult one to define, since I think
Okay.
it's very personal and
All
very
right.
subjective. Like I think everyone has their own, you know, way of deciding, hey, this was for me such a great experience, because we all know that when you were somewhere with your friend and he found it absolutely fantastic and you were like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Um, but what I would say is the experiences is avoiding, well, it would be mainly the my eyes, is avoiding the mass tourism. So
Okay.
avoiding having long lines or needing to reserve 3 4 days ahead. All those type of things I don't think should be in a modern travel experience where we can manage a lot with digital technologies. And I
Okay.
also think those are really the things that decreases experiences, but they are things that we started to accept over the course of the years. I mean,
So could you say like more spontaneous travel, maybe less programmed?
yeah, like really in the moment traveling.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to go for.
So booking like last minute or not even booking, that's kind of from the booking side of things. It's like less planning.
Well, if you book the hotel and the flight, I think you will always need to do that. Also, from make sure
Hmm.
you have the right price and you need to have some sort of ID. But I think the moment you wake up, you
Hmm.
should kind of experience in a way as the flow goes. Um,
Okay, okay, I get it. Sorry to keep interrupting because this is very close to my heart, and I'm gonna explain you why. I started traveling at your age, even earlier, like hitchhiking and stuff, right? So really like experience, right? And there was a moment in my life when I started saying, I'm a traveler and you're a tourist. This elitist approach. I'm a real traveler, you're a tourist. And then later I realized I'm just a tourist too, right? It doesn't change too much. But I understood the difference between travel and tourism and basically experiences in tourism, like in the fact that when I left for a country and I came back home and I was a changed person, so I had learned something, which changed me to a small degree, a big degree, but it did change me. That was travel. When I went somewhere and I came back the same person with some extra pictures and maybe, some pleasant experiences, then I was a tourist. And that stayed with me. And that's kind of the reason I stopped traveling a lot in terms of like backpacking, because I did like 10 years of this, is because I stopped changing. I was coming back from countries like, okay, yeah, I've seen things, but I haven't learned new perspectives. I haven't opened my mind. I just went somewhere and did things, and I left nothing in that country. That country didn't learn anything from me. I didn't learn anything from that country, and that's when I said, okay, I can't really travel anymore. I'm done. That kind of travel for me. is consumed, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, that's why I kept asking you if this is like what the new generations are looking for or not. In part, it seems yes. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
by the way, I really love the way you say it. Like, I think that's something I agree with travel and tourism. I think I feel that for a big part. I mean, I haven't obviously seen my age traveled as much as you because of simply not having the possibility, but I think in the trips I have made, I can agree with that way of the separating travelers and tourists. But what I think is that not everyone wants, for example, the backpack experience, although it's very often what they're looking for with a most authentic experiences lie. So they still want to have the comfort. So you need to find the right balance in there and having that experience while offering the traditional comfort.
Okay. Let us move a little bit on the booking side of things.
Mhm.
Now you say comfort, right? That's a very important part of it. Like if you're traveling comfortably, it probably means you're spending a bit more money than somebody who travels uncomfortably. And this acts as a protection between you and the environment. So the more money you spend, the worse you travel. That's always been uh, my take in terms of traveling, not in terms of tours, right? So if you travel with little money, you are hitchhiking, you're staying in hostels, and you're getting buses. So you always meet people. If you have money, stay in one room hotel, you get taxes, and yeah, and you isolate yourself because it's more comfortable to be isolated, right? That's one thing I learned. The more money you spend, the worse you travel, and the less you interact with people, the less you learn. In terms of bookings, before Booking.com, Agoda, etc., wherever I traveled, South America or Asia, I would get in a place without a booking because there was no way to book online, right? So I would get to, I don't know, let's say Bali at the airport, get somewhere in the island and go looking for places on the moment. And that wasn't better. That was worse. It's better to book online for thousands of reasons. It doesn't take anything away from your experience, right? So why I'm saying that? To say that it's not about how you travel externally. Like you look more like backpacking doesn't mean better traveling. I met many backpackers who were traveling just following the trail, right? It used to be
Mhm.
called the banana trail, actually, the banana pancake trail in Southeast Asia. So it's not even about getting off the beaten track. The off the beaten track is very much a myth, right? It's not like you go to God-forsaken places and you're gonna be a better traveler, you're gonna meet better people or more interesting people. It's difficult to travel, in that sense. It's difficult to get experiences. It's really hard. And it's not about a technique only. It's about also getting, basically it's about meeting people. But yeah, enough about this. Sorry about that, because you brought me
Oh,
back to my travel years. Um, yeah, how does Aki Travel again is gonna help the new generations travel basically or get experiences?
so what we're building is basically a marketplace. Right now, in the beginning, it's focused on really those experiences you have on the day itself. So restaurants, events, uh, activities, and something we call experience stores. So that we sell a local experience. Uh,
Experience store, you said?
yeah, that's how we call it.
Okay.
So this is something with local foods, local handcrafted sandals, whatever is from the region. So that's what we're focusing our beta on. And what we're doing then is bringing this all in one place and guiding people in a sort of a almost, let's say, Pokemon Go like interface for people that know it, through a destination. And by exploring certain places, they can collect rewards of the businesses on the platform, which incentivizes them to take certain actions at these businesses. But for example, we've also been talking to destination management organizations, how we can also use these rewards to incentivize, for example, more sustainable travel and avoiding overcrowded zones, etc. So I think that's in short what we're doing. Maybe it's best if you ask some questions. So we have the
Yeah, well, let's say, there's always when a startup idea is presented, it's always hard to explain it in a very simple way for people who are listening, but maybe not listening 100%, or maybe, I always have this idea that when you explain a startup, you should start from the very, very simple explanation, which takes away from the complexity of the startup, but as a start, just to let people like hang on their first idea. So, in other words, let's say that I am a young traveler and I'm using Booking.com or Agoda or whatever I'm using. And you come to me and say, no, use Aqi Travel. Why?
So right now, especially in the beginning, they would still need to go to Agoda or Booking.com to get their trip going. But the
Okay.
moment they arrive at the destination, you want to go to Aqi Travel because it knows what you want and
Hmm.
it takes you along that journey, and it helps you well pay less for better experiences through
Okay.
our
So,
reward
so
system.
I'm gonna go to a place and I have a place to stay.
Mhm.
And I want to avoid basically the most, mass tourism experiences. I want something less crowded, more original, probably more authentic, right? So I
Mhm.
go on Nike Travel, and you say it knows. Why does it know? He has a profile of me, and or maybe I have to insert some data.
Exactly.
Get me through the journey. So help me just visualize this.
Right. So if you sign up onto the platform,
Hmm.
basically what we do is we create a persona around you. Um, Originally, we wanted to save that data in our blockchain wallet, but unfortunately, we were not able to pull that one off. And there it basically asks you, hey, what are you looking for? So we first identify just based on 6 to 8 pictures, what type of traveler are you?
Oh, pictures. Sorry, do I upload my pictures to give you data?
No, we have the
No.
pictures ready. You just select 2 pictures
Oh, all right. I choose
that
the
I
pictures,
like,
right?
and we
Mhm.
already have a good ID, like they're assigned to certain values, and we have a good idea, hey, this person is this type of traveler, at least right now. And then you select certain interest. And from there on, you go into to our explore section, which is basically one big map view where everything is on. It also includes gamified quests. Um, and it shows you tailored, hey, this is what this person might like, this is what this person doesn't like. And then within there, we have a travel buddy, which is an AI chat. You can customize it yourself that knows your preferences and also learns your preferences.
Sorry,
Uh,
you said an AI agent?
it's an
No?
agent,
Agent.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And there you can, well, ask anything you want. So you can just use it simply as a search module. You can also have it plan your entire day, where it even considers live data like the weather,
Mhm.
or current public transport information to actually make a plan of your day. So where you would spend like in the morning at breakfast at the hotel, you would go through, 3, 4, 5 different websites and apps to plan your day ahead. We can now do that in 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I wake up in the morning, I look out of the window, it's a nice day. Maybe it's a very hot day, so I'm gonna avoid some experiences. So rather than go through all these apps and websites trying to understand what to do, I have an agent which knows my preferences and knows what's happening out there, knows where I am, of course, and suggests me a few experiences, right? Like, I don't know, maybe some examples.
I mean, it can be as complicated as you want to make it. For example, well, let's take my home city here as Maastricht as example. It's a very historical city, beautiful to walk through. It's famous for its gastronomy. So I might arrive in the morning and I can say, "Hey, listen, I'm in Maastricht for the day. I would like to see the city and its most famous landmarks. Then and in the evening, I would like to enjoy its gastronomy." And then you might get a question back like, "Hey, who are you with? And do we have a departure time to consider?" You say, "I'm with my girlfriend and." There's a I wanna take the train at 10, and then it basically within that creates that entire plan.
Fantastic. Okay.
Go here. We suggest these two restaurants for you. So our idea is that in the first two results must be the right result.
Mm.
And then from there, it might even say like, hey, listen, it's a tight fit to get to the station from this place. So consider taking, already reserving at Aqi.
Okay. Nice. So, okay, and how good is it? Let's say Maastricht, which is your home base, and is a perfect example because it's a city, like it's not a capital city. Everybody knows the two or three things to do. You don't have this FOMO of having to see the Eiffel Tower or whatever. You just do whatever is the best, right? So, how good is it, the AI to do that? All right.
It's quite good, but we haven't tested it on a big city. Like, let's not forget, Maastricht is not the biggest city, so of
Hmm.
course,
But in
Maastricht.
Maastricht is good. It gives you good suggestions.
Exactly, yeah, there it works. Yeah,
Nice.
we're happy with the results, and what we're looking on to make it a bit better is for DMOs to be able to claim their destination. So they help
Okay.
us enhance
Mm.
the information.
Can you tell me a bit more about this? Claiming the destination. The DMOs, of course, these are what is the DMO for?
The destination management
Destination. So
organization.
these are the people. Let's simplify again. These are organizations, often from the city, who are there to get more people in the city, more or less. Simplifying
Yeah,
brutally, right?
so to put the city indeed into the market and to help develop every part of the city, and maybe in some cases DMO, destination management organizations focus more on making sure there is no over tourism rather than just
Oh,
non.
no, that's the new trend. Before
Yeah, yeah, some
they
yeah.
wanted more, now they want less. Never happy. Oh my God. Okay. So even in Maastricht, that's overtures?
uh yeah, it is a lot of day
God.
trippers. So a lot of
Oh, day
Belgians.
troopers.
Yeah, a lot of Belgians
Belgians.
and Germans. I also think I I'm not completely sure, but after Amsterdam, it's one of the most visited cities in Maastricht, in the Netherlands.
Yeah. Mhm.
If you look at number of hotel nights. I mean, I myself even live in a town. It's called Valkenburg. It's a very small tourist town, very famous for its Christmas market. And I did the calculation. Only 7,000 people live here, but we have 72,000 hotel nights uh, per 1,000 inhabitants. So that's absolutely massive.
Okay.
If you compare that to Amsterdam, you're only at 20,000. So yeah, over
All right.
tourism is a thing.
All right.
Um,
Okay. So yeah, it works well. It helps planning your day. Can you tell me more about the AI? What models you're using, etc.
that's a difficult one for answer to me because
Okay.
I'm not the most technical guy.
Okay.
I know we're using everything via LangChain, so I believe it
Okay. LangChain is the framework. Okay.
combines
But
different models in order
okay.
wherever it is needed. Like some reasoning requires more advanced models than others.
All right. So you use multi-model. That's great. One
Yeah,
thing which you can say, like, okay, you tell me it works reasonably well. In 6 months or a year, it's gonna work perfectly or incredibly well. That's kind of the bet you make when you use AI today, right?
yeah.
And you're starting from a place where it works reasonably well. Now, AI costs money, tokens. How do you make money?
So for us, it still comes from the businesses that want to be on the platform. So our core product to these businesses are tools where we use AI to have them, there's always a guest that wants to spend more at your business than another guest.
Hmm.
So we want to send the right guest to the right business and then give this business the opportunity by having like basically voucher and coupon system automated on a blockchain to build loyalty or even attract these guests. Like let's say many restaurants have not much to do before 2 in the afternoon. So there's the right if I have a restaurant, I can already give a 30% discount before 2 when most of my tables are empty anyway to come to my restaurant. Hopefully they like it, they spend a bit more, and if they spend enough, I can even give them a reward to incentivize them to come back. So in that sense, we're also not only focusing on travelers, but we like to say we focus on explorers, which can also be somebody that lives very close to a destination. Because the reality is those people are very often potential users 365 days of the year, while well, many tourists or travelers are what maximum 14 to 30 days potential users. And to have full customization options in this targeting and segmentation, but also reward creation, restaurants can and other businesses can pay for a SaaS subscription.
Okay, a question. When I come to Maastricht and you suggest me a couple of restaurants, are these, I mean, are you picking only from your own pool of customers or restaurants you selected and work with you, or you are choosing from every restaurant in Maastricht?
We're only choosing from our own pool, but everyone can sign up to the platform free of charge. So
Isn't this a problem? Because now you're suggesting me not the best ones, but the best ones amongst your restaurants, and you may have 10% of the restaurants. So that makes sense when you have most of them, or at least the good ones, most of the good ones. How are you
yeah.
going to solve this problem?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest answer would be to have as many as possible on there, but of course that's not directly possible. So that's always a balancing act. And to maybe in the beginning you do want to add other businesses on there and just display them, or just that's something we're really still in the process of figuring out how that exactly is going to work.
This is the classic, every startup in travel has an inventory problem, right? So you don't have the full inventory because, of course, you're trying to build it.
Yeah.
And if there was an API, or maybe there is for restaurants, I don't know, where you can pick, every restaurant at the same time getting a referral, because at the end you get money directly or indirectly, you get money from the restaurant, right? Not from the customer. And if there was a way for you to get money from everyone, a bit like you get money from referrals on Booking.com, right? From every hotel in the world, then it's easy. But if you don't have the full inventory, the only way tends to be you need to have a selection, which is very good. Like, okay, there's I don't know, 100 restaurants in Maastricht. You don't have 100, you have 30, but the other 30 best ones, you wouldn't even suggest the other ones. You wouldn't suggest the other ones anyway. So it's kind of the same, almost. Even if from the customer point of view, it's like, no, why are not all there? I don't think these are the best, right? So you are in a conundrum where almost every single startup in travel is, right?
Exactly. You need to find the inventory some way, and that can be, I mean, very difficult.
Yeah.
There is just so much fragmentation. And it can also be sometimes very expensive to get the inventory in the first place. And especially if you look at smaller businesses, what we focus on, like restaurants, very often they are not as technically advanced. So they are on very limited platforms and sometimes don't even have a proper overview of which platforms they're on. Like we have talked to about 20 to 30 different businesses. And many of them were like, yeah, but I'm on this app, I'm on this app, I don't even know which app I am. Like all these things are such side priorities for me if you look at smaller businesses, that there is no real centralized way to get this inventory if you work on a very local level.
Okay, so yeah, that's not the problem, right? You get in the real world and you realize that the technical level is not what needs to be. Now, when you go in a restaurant, you said you went around restaurants. When you go in a restaurant and you're gonna tell them something, what is your pickup line? So what do you tell them? What problems do you solve for them? In very simple terms, because again, these are restaurants. You
Yeah,
need
of
to
course.
be very simple and convincing, right?
What we tend to ask is, you want to get more guests into your business, to which they almost can only answer one thing.
Okay.
You want to have the right guest in the business because, of course, like, again, sometimes you have two people filling a table paying more than 5, 6 people on the same table.
Okay.
And then the question is, do you want to build loyalty, and do you want to be able to incentivize people, for example, not to come on your busiest moments?
Okay, that's inside. That's interesting for a restaurant. You're telling them you want more people, do you want better customers, meaning spending more basically, and you want them at the right time.
Yes.
That's all very interesting. So do they react positively mostly?
Well, nobody has showed us the door yet, so I think all in all,
Okay.
that's a
And what
positive.
does it take for them to be part of this? Like, is it like, okay, yes, where do I sign? Or there's a whole technical onboarding to be done?
No, for them, it's actually a simple SaaS interface. So, no, of
So
course,
there's an app, there's a website. They have to go and create an account,
exactly. And
and they have to
once
fill
that's
in
set up,
stuff.
they have to fill in some stuff. Of course, once the moment we start this, the priority was like, okay, because both our co-founders, Cedric and me, we have when we were teenagers worked in restaurants. So we have seen a bit how it goes. Restaurant owners are always busy, and they very often don't care about anything technical. And if a certain thing takes too long, and I think that's basically
They,
for any business person,
they
it's just
drop
not
it.
going to happen. So when
Yeah.
we started this, it was like, this needs to be easy. There must be
Mm,
nothing technical from a blockchain perspective, because they don't care. It needs to happen in
mm,
15 minutes, 30 minutes max. They need to be up and running on the platform.
mm.
And that's what we're still going for. And that's why we're now working on a like ambassador program. Where
A
we
what? What again?
ambassador program we're working on.
I missed the term. Missable?
Ambassador.
Ambassador, right?
Yeah,
Sorry about
sorry,
that.
sorry. Who we also have a continuous feedback loop with, and yeah, they are happy to invest some time in us. And yeah,
What do they have to enter actually in the platform to be up and running?
so if we look at business information, it's no, actually just the business name, the commerce number, and the VAT number.
Why don't you automate this by, with AI? I recently built for myself an app where I want to compare the Airbnbs, right? So when I
Mhm.
look for a place, and instead of inserting manually as I do on a spreadsheet, usually I just screenshot the. No, actually, no, that one. I screenshot the listing, or I copy paste the content from the page and I paste it in the AI, and the AI fills it in for me. Can you maybe leverage AI to make this easier? Or maybe you do it yourself, like you get the data from their website. I don't know. 30 minutes sounds a long time for a restaurant owner. So
Yeah,
can you
but
leverage AI on this?
in those 15, 30 minutes, we're also talking about the entire reward setup.
You teach them,
Um,
you tell them.
well, there are instructions in the platform, but they would need to, of course, create these rewards do I want to offer, and this is how my ideal guest looks like. That's included within that time frame.
Okay.
Um,
All right. So, something I wanted to tell before when you explained the value proposition for the restaurants, like you are leveraging AI knowledge of the customer in order to bring the right customer, which other people don't tend to do. Like they get customers, okay, of course, returning customers, word of mouth, but they get customers from maybe advertisement and stuff, and
mhm.
there is no knowledge about the customer. So you may get in the wrong group at the wrong time, for instance, while you leverage the knowledge of the customer.
Yes.
That's also interesting. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and in the end, like we don't capture any of this knowledge outside of the app. Everything is done about the interactions the customer did within the app. So they actually also choose which data they give us and which they don't.
Okay.
Uh, like, yeah, we want to be as friendly as possible when it comes to data.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the blockchain side of things. You mentioned you had to drop a part, but then you mentioned you were doing something else. So let's talk about the crypto part of this.
Yeah. So this well, the reward system to have those vouchers and coupons completely automated, that we're all building on a blockchain.
So sorry to
Then
interrupt you already. Can you tell me a bit more about this? How does this actually work and what is written on the blockchain?
it's actually the rewards. Every reward itself is an NFT.
Okay.
So basically, when a restaurant creates them, they can set the number of those they have, and that gets minted. And once a user interacts with it or collects their rewards, it's sent to their wallet. And once they redeem it, it's sent back. Or
Okay, so the NFTs represent the reward like as a digital asset, but this I
yeah,
suppose happens behind the scenes, right? Because the restaurants we know have a wallet. Okay.
exactly. That happens beyond the scenes. So we have a wallet as a service onboarding. In the future, you might be able to connect your own wallet, but right now we're not really looking for the Web3 native user. We just want
Yeah.
to leverage the operational efficiency of blockchain in that sense, with the reward system. And something when it comes to rewards, what we want in the future is that, hey, Luca, maybe you are in Barcelona this week. I'm in Amsterdam this week. And then next week, you're in Amsterdam and I'm in Barcelona. So then we can switch our rewards. Because on the day you're traveling, you might have collected a few that you can not redeem because you're not planning on going back to Barcelona.
Okay. So
Yeah,
this happens on your platform. That's basically a marketplace for swapping rewards. Okay. Let's go back a little bit because to the NFT aspect. Because this happens with almost every startup in Web3 travel. Like we want to use NFTs or tokens, but people don't have wallets. So what we do, we use them behind the scenes, and we expose the user to a Web2 interface, which manages the digital assets in the background, right? And that's the only way to do it today, unless you are focusing only on the crypto people, and most don't do that because there's no numbers there. There's not enough people. Um, and then the question is always, okay, then why don't you use the database? Why are you messing with blockchain if you could do the same thing with a database? And there are several different answers to this. But what is your answer? Why are you messing with Web3, which makes things in some ways more complicated, right?
yeah, and of course, well, it's two main reasons. We think within the reward system, there is a sort of an operational efficiency to gain, and also it's a building block for the future, because we do believe the Web3 market is gonna mature, and from there on, we just want to expand, like for example, the swapping, or have it exported into real Web3 wallets. And yeah, I mean, as this market matures, we are really looking to also further decentralize the platform, for
Okay.
both the traveler and the business.
What is the operational efficiency exactly here?
Uh, we don't have to have anything to do with the rewards. Businesses create the rewards, have to supply, and it gets automatically sent to a user um, once they
Okay.
collect the reward, and also automatically sent back to the business. Yeah, so they don't have a number of rewards going all over the place, and that can just be deleted.
Okay. So there's a couple of properties here. There's a persistency, like once they created, you cannot delete them. And the other one is you are leveraging existing infrastructure. It's also kind of a classic in Web3 in travel or Web3, Web 2.5, where you can use the blockchain because it's kind of a layer which otherwise you should have to build centrally, which is extra work. So yeah, it's always hard to understand if that's worth it or not. But with your second answer, you make sense because okay, that's just the beginning. In the future, we want to when the Web3 user base grows, we want to be ready for that. One thing I tend to suggest in these situations is the exit strategy approach, which is okay. Web2 users don't care if you're using MySQL, blockchain, or pieces of paper. They don't care. Web3 users care, and they understand why they can interact through a Web2 interface, but they want an exit. What is the exit? Withdraw the NFT to your wallet. This should be there from day one, in my opinion. Because if I start interacting with Aqi Travel and I collect a lot of rewards, but I can't bring them on my own wallet, I am basically not using Web3, this property of Web3 where I own my assets. I'm not owning them unless you give me a way to use my own wallet. And it's something which you can completely hide from the Web2 user by still making the Web3 user a bit more comfortable with what they're building there, right?
No, yeah, I think that's something I tend to agree on with you, and I also think it's something quite quickly after our launch we would add. It's like one of the first things that would be on there to be added. But right now, especially here, since we're launching a regional beta, it's just really not that much of a priority. But I think it's one of the first features we would add from a Web3 perspective, especially once we start growing.
All right. Yeah, I'm not, of course, telling you when you have to do it, etc. But just saying that for the Web3 crowd, this is kind of an important point. And
Yeah.
okay, cool. So, what is the status? You mentioned beta. What is the like? Can we use it? Can we play around with it already?
So in January 2025, we plan with the ambassadors a beta launch for their customer group, so they can start offering rewards, because we first want to test the reward system, whether it's going to work. And then from February, March, as you know, we grow into the summer season again. We have tested, and we hope to grow the platform here within the region. So that's the most sort of tip of the Netherlands, in and around Maastricht. And then after summer, yeah, we hope in some way to be able to duplicate success to different regions.
How much are you charging the businesses to be on the platform?
So right now, if they would choose for the yearly plan, it's 50 euros a month. But that can, if for example your business is significantly smaller in seat capacity or significantly bigger, we're working on a more dynamic pricing model.
Okay. Why did you decide to charge a fixed fee and not a commission? Are you not able to track what's happening? Like what customers you bring to them?
Yeah, that's actually a decision we made partly from the beginning, that we didn't want to work with commissions. Also due to the nature they sometimes have and the problems they're currently creating. On the other hand, most businesses we spoke to tended, at least restaurants, which we have up to now spoke to, tended to prefer the flat fee over the commission. If we looked at hotels, there was a bit more skepticism because, well, they just want to be on as many platforms as they can possibly be. And I mean, a flat fee then is not very attractive because you don't know, hey, how much traffic is going to come in via through this channel. But what we got there is, as long as you can keep the average cost below 12%, I'm still making money compared to Booking.com and Expedia. So
Up 12% of in a commission.
of the total, yeah. So yeah. 12%.
So that's interesting. You say restaurants are open to a flat fee and hotels are less open. Why do you think is that?
I'm really not sure. I've asked myself the same question. But what you see is that most restaurant products out there work with flat fees. Like, for example, their reservation systems, or yeah, even the Fork and OpenTable. I think OpenTable has a sort of commission model there. So I don't know if you're familiar with OpenTable, but it's the restaurant's booking website, Booking Holdings. So they have fees where you pay, for example, per reservation or a commission if you offer a deal. But they also have flat fee products, and most restaurants on the platform still use their flat fee products. So
Okay, so hotels are used to commissions and restaurants are used to flat fee.
Yeah.
Maybe you could offer commissions to hotels and flat fees to restaurants. That
That's an
could be.
option. But yeah,
Um,
hotels are something for the future.
okay, you're focusing on that. Okay. Yeah,
Right now,
you basically adapt to your market, right? Okay.
yeah, day experiences. And I mean, many restaurants we talk to also own hotels. So on
Oh,
a
okay.
local level, we can make that entry relatively quickly. But of course, if you want to scale this, I think the hotel market is way more difficult and you're in direct competition against the big OTAs. And then it just becomes a question of resources rather than product.
But at the same time, hotels really want direct bookings. I don't know about restaurants, but hotels really want direct bookings. So the thing is, the whole hospitality, accommodation, basically, industry has been burned in a way by flat fees because you say, okay, 50 a month, and then the risk is in their side, right? Because maybe they don't get enough bookings to cover the 50 a month. What I've seen myself, and it was amazing, the pre-Airbnb era, right? The biggest website for vacation rentals was called Home Away, which is now VRBO, Verbal. They charged a flat fee. Why did they charge a flat fee? Because they came from Web 1 or pre-web, where you would pay listings a flat fee on a newspaper, right? You go to a newspaper, you pay a flat fee, they put your listing on for a week. HomeAway comes from the internet and says, okay, same thing, but we don't publish you on paper, publish you on a screen. And they charge a flat fee. And I remember that, they were charging 300, talking about vacation rentals, yeah, not hotels, but
Yeah.
similar. So they were charging, I don't know, $200 a year. And then higher tier, $500 a year. The highest tier, platinum, was maybe 1,500 or something like that. And you will get bookings for 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. The cost was really in percentage values, like 1% or less sometimes, right? So it was really cheap. And yet it was really hard for HomeAway to sell you higher tiers. All right, because okay, I got 200 tier and I'm getting many bookings. Pay 500, get a bit more, right? Is it worth it? It's not worth it. So you had all this sales effort trying to sell more, right? Okay. So it was a very good situation for the vacation rental operators. Airbnb comes in and says, we're not going to charge you anything. We're going to charge you 3%, right? And 12% to the user, to the guest. And everybody jumped on it, say, okay, no more fixed costs. Only if I get a commission, only if I get the booking, I pay a commission. And what people started paying on Airbnb first and booking later was 15 to 17% per booking, which is a bloodbath. It's a lot of money. If you make 20,000 euro a year in bookings, this is 15% of that, right?
Yeah.
So how much is it? 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. So people were not happy to pay 500 and they got stuck in paying 5,000. And now everybody's stuck. Even VRBO went to commissions. So what I'm trying to say here is two things. Hotels understood commissions are great until they aren't. Okay. And it's much easier to grow when you charge a commission because you are not asking your customer to take the risk, right? I'm not saying you should do that. Okay, I'm just saying commission kind of won on the internet, and they are very high for all the wrong reasons. But yeah,
Yeah,
just a thought about this experience, basically.
and that's right. But what I find difficult about commissions is I have the feeling I'm taking money that is not supposed to be mine, you know? We offer a product that has a certain value. That's a system for loyalty and attracting guests. It's a market tool, and I can assign a value to that. A hotel offers something that has a certain value. Why, if I had a platform, should I just be able to take part of the value of the hotel to as my own revenue. You know,
That's
that's
why.
the
Okay,
problem
first of
I
all,
have there with commissions.
yeah,
Hmm?
but your product has value only if it brings customers. If it brings no customers, it's zero value. If you charge 300 a year for zero customers, you also took away from the hotel, right?
That's
Now,
why
yeah.
we wanted the reward system so they can create rewards and they have an incentive to get their own guests onto our platform because it also extends as their little loyalty program.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, of course, if it's used, if
Yeah.
customers actually use it, etc., etc. Commissions are saying if I send you a customer, okay, let's take it from that side. When a hotel gets a booking from booking.com and pays 15, 18, 20, whatever, they are paying for a service. And the service is I bring you customers, which probably otherwise you wouldn't be able to reach. When they get a booking directly, it's not free. They spend a lot of money to get that direct booking. Maybe Google Ads, the website, the booking engine, etc. Customers cost money, right? In any way, you know. If you bring them customers, you should charge them. You can charge them a flat fee and the risk is on their side, or you can charge them a commission and the risk is on your side. Now, if you feel that you're taking money from something you don't deserve, well, it's not true. And maybe you shouldn't just charge 20% like they do. Charge 3%, 1%, whatever. It's only in the numbers. And crypto told us this, right? The moment you make something automatic, which is really, really efficient, like a DEX, like Uniswap, you can charge 0.3% because there's no work involved other than what you've done in the beginning. So maybe the answer to your question about commissions is like just charge less,
But
maybe.
I don't know, maybe you remember from the pitch, we do have a 3.5% transaction fee if the transaction occurs in the platform. That's not for all businesses, but if we handle the money, also because there are certain variable costs with the payment, we do have a 3.5% fee.
Okay, that's a fee that the hotel pays anyway if they get a booking through a credit card system. Like, if they use Stripe, they also pay a commission fee. So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
just
And we, to some extent, also need to have Stripe. We have some blockchain fees, so we
yeah, of
also.
course, you have your cost plus your commission. Yeah.
But what we might be considering there is we're not 100% sure yet who we're gonna give the bill of the commission. So there might be a way where the business can decide for their business whether they cover it or they put it on the customer or they do it in a 50-50 way.
Yeah. Airbnb, and another lesson from the vacation rental world, Airbnb started charging 3% to hosts and 12% to customers, and they're moving toward everything paid by the host. So the customer doesn't see the commission. Now, doesn't see it, he still pays it. That's another thing about commissions. Like you go on booking.com, your hotel is $500, and you say, I'm not paying commissions on booking.com. Then the hotel doesn't get $500, gets less, and you paid it. I mean, you paid the 500, including the whatever 75 from booking, but that's another psychological or like say information asymmetry, which has to be taken into consideration when you decide whether to charge commissions to a customer or to the provider.
Look, and since we're talking about Booking.com, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it in the news about the rumors about Uber or Amazon wanting to buy Expedia.
No, I haven't.
Okay, then maybe it's not the right question to ask right now, but there are some rumors and some articles that Uber or Amazon is looking to buy Expedia. And they say it could be very tough for Booking.com to compete against such a combination, especially since when it's Uber and Expedia, you're really going to have this travel super app that combines the service element and the. So I was just curious about your opinion. I mean, obviously you haven't heard of it yet, but.
Well, it's just a rumor, so you bring me the rumor, so it's kind of the same if I had already. I just didn't have time to think about it. But what they would be buying would be the inventory, basically, and maybe the technology. But these are tech companies that can easily build. They could build, or maybe they'll have to build their own booking system on top, or maybe Expedia is got a very, heavy legacy software, and they have to rebuild everything. But they buy the inventory, because that's the problem in travel. Inventory is siloed. You cannot access it, right? So if they buy Expedia and they have all the inventory Booking has, which is more or less the same, I suppose. Maybe they have to consider the trust factor. But again, this is Amazon and this is Uber, so I would trust as much Uber as I trust Expedia in terms of if something goes wrong with the hotel, I'm protected. This is a very overlooked aspect of why OTAs are successful, right?
Yeah.
OTAs are successful because if I go direct with the hotel and the hotel screws me, I have no recourse. Maybe a review on Google. If they screw me, I have the review on Booking, which can really impact them. I don't know. Booking is really strong. They are entrenched, but nothing lasts forever. I tend to believe more that they can be, they can start suffering if things change at the web level, like the Web3 approach, where things change under the feet and they have to adapt, and maybe they cannot adapt in that direction rather than an acquisition. But even if Amazon buys Expedia, doesn't even matter. It's for us, right? Why does it matter? You're booking on Amazon instead of Expedia. The travel industry wouldn't really, I think, be impacted. What do you think about it? How can this impact, for instance, Aqi Travel or everything else?
I mean, when we look at a key, I think the Uber Expedia combination can be very challenging for us, because I think they would be very quickly be able to create something that's also more in the moment, like a true super app. You have the ride shares. Uber has access to a lot of restaurants already through Uber Eats. So I think the barrier is very little to switch that up and to create something else. And of course, they have the full inventory, so they know where people will be staying, when they will be traveling, what local
transport. All right, I see now. Yeah.
So it's a very, very powerful combination, especially if the right AI layer comes over that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of a risk. That's why, from a startup point of view, AI is certainly something to go for, especially because you can move much faster than they can, so you can leverage AI. But where they cannot follow you is in the lens of Web3, because completely changes the business models, completely changes. It goes against their business models in many ways. For instance, the fact that data should not be siloed, etc., etc. I'm not going to repeat these things I talked about a lot in the past, right? So where you can really change things in the crypto part of it, because you go from data belongs to the company, to Booking or the others, to data belongs to the user. And if they if they come there, they can't charge 20% anymore, right? Doesn't make any sense. So yeah, AI has reached a level of maturity which is really incredible. I'm deep into this to a level I wouldn't believe. I mean, there's so much we can do with AI.
Yeah.
Today, crypto is still AI 5 years, 10 years ago, right? Its promises is hype, is bust, hype and bust, hype and bust, and we haven't yet reached the moment where we can actually use it for the usual problem, the wallet problem. People don't have wallets, etc. So I think it's good what you're doing. You are betting on both. AI is today, crypto is not today yet, but it's good to build, to be ready for when that happens. So I think you're in a good place and well positioned. Then things are okay. Let me add another element to, Aqi Travel as something which is new and wants to be there for the next years. We have really hit exponential curve in technology right now. I mean, things are changing so fast.
Yep.
And tomorrow they're changing double fast, and after tomorrow they're changing even faster. So the speed at which things are changing is so fast now that big things break, small things don't, right? Big corporations, which have been very comfortable and fat for the last years, are gonna start breaking up. They can't keep up with that stuff. It's just too fast. Startups are well positioned to and flexible to ride this wave. And I don't think people realize how fast things are going. And the only way to realize that, in my opinion, is to be very, very deep in crypto, especially in DeFi, and very, very deep in AI, meaning not playing with ChatGPT, but actually developing stuff on AI as you're doing. And when you have this realization, you're like a illuminated, you know, higher being, which sees things clearly. Is it illuminated? Wait, maybe I'm using the wrong word. The Buddha is enlightened. Sorry, that was
Yeah.
an Italian translation. So you are enlightened. You see clearly if you do these things at that deep level. The others don't. And that's your biggest advantage, in my opinion.
So you think,
Enlightened.
for example, Booking.com has a blockbuster fate?
Okay, making predictions is really hard.
No, no, just as an
No,
example.
no. In general, it's very hard to make predictions, especially on a timeline. And I've been wrong many times in terms of like, I started this travel, Web3 travel thing in 2017, saying, 3 years, maybe 5. It's 7. And it's going to be maybe 10 before something interesting happens on that area. But what I'm saying is like the speed is not accelerating, is accelerating at an exponential rate. Exponentials, as you know, we all very know very well, is not something we understand. We don't interiorize it. We understand things are faster, but nobody understands things are getting from 50 to 100 to 200 to 400 to 800. And then if I keep saying these numbers 2 minutes, we're talking billions. Nobody understands that, not even me, even if I'm saying that, right? Not even me sounds like I'm like more intelligent or something. No, not even me, which I'm talking about, who I'm talking about that. Um, but this speed is what makes small startups more adapt to this new world. We really took off with AI. It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes so quickly, and yeah, excited yet scared to see what's to come next.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's just too much. I am very excited. It's exhilarating what I'm doing right now. I won't even get into this, but
Yeah.
yeah. But this is for a few people. Most people are going to resist this change, and maybe 6 months from now I'm gonna start resisting because it gets really too fast. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Nick, it was great talking to you. Maybe you wanna say some last things, last words about Aqi Travel. So you're raising money right now?
Well, we actually changed our strategy a bit, going into a bootstrapping strategy. Since we have the recurring revenue and we already see some interest.
Okay.
But then after that, there is a big chance we would still start raising money again in order to scale properly. But right now, at least for the next 6 to 12 months, we're gonna go into a bootstrapping phase. And yeah, we are very
You know
excited.
what's been happening recently in many AI startups are not even raising anymore because they actually get to product market fit quickly. They get revenue, and the moment they raise is when they want to just grow very quickly. That's a very good place to be for a startup. So if you have recurring revenue and you are able to grow it, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's right now what we're also trying to consider.
Yeah,
Well,
because we come from a world in which like startup idea, next step, investments,
yeah, I think
right?
that's also the idea we first started with.
All right, of course.
Yeah,
That's the status quo. but it's changing.
Yeah.
It's changing. Okay. Nick, that was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and see you
Great
soon,
talking to
Summer.
you.
Bye.
Bye, G.
Bye-bye. And we're done. Thank you for listening to this episode. For more insights, follow me on Twitter at Tripluca, TRIPLUCA. If you enjoy my podcast and want to support it, head on to podcast.web3intravel.com, 3 is a digit, and mint an NFT. If you want to sponsor it, you can do it at the same page. I will mention you in the podcast, and your name will appear on all donation NFTs for a while. Thank you, and ciao.